So I'm taking Sophia to school, and some crackhead steals some parent's car. We're literally walking toward the entrance, and all we hear is this dude screaming, "Get out of my car! He's stealing my car! Get out of my car!" And then we see a car mount the curb, and it's this dude who is evidently stealing someone's car, and he's driving up on the footpath, and he's driving on the wrong side of the road, and he's like literally just driving around school traffic to get away from the dude whose car he's stealing. It was fucking wild, man. It was absolutely wild. And I'm like, initially I was fucking frozen in the spot, right? Frozen in place, just like everyone else, sort of watching it all unfold. Because I heard him scream, like, "Get out of my car, get out of my car, he's stealing my car," like 3 or 4 times. It wasn't until the car, about maybe, 50, 60 yards in front of me, mounted the curb, and Sophia was standing next to me / slightly in front of me, like she'd have been hit first if he came towards us. And it sort of like jolted me into action. And I was like, oh fuck, and I grabbed her and put her behind me and like used my left arm to sort of pivot some other kid behind me as well, because he didn't have a parent with him. Like he was, well, I mean he might have, but he was standing next to Sophia. And so I was just like, my first reaction, just, all right kids, get behind me, when I saw the car. He'd have taken all of us out. If he was going to hit us, all 3 of us would have got hit. I just would have got hit first, right? Anyway, the car fucking gets back onto the road and fucks off, squealing tyres and everything, and the dude is sort of left standing there, almost comically. It would have been comical if it wasn't like, some crackhead stealing a car and mounting the curb in front of the fucking elementary school, K to 2. But yeah, the guy was sort of just standing in the middle of the road being like, he just stole my fucking car. And then he ran back into the school, presumably to like call someone about it or something. But yeah, then there was this moment of like 2 or 3 minutes where the rest of the parents that had seen it happen were sort of like, well, fuck, that was a thing. What do we do now? Like, and yeah, I'm like with adrenaline, full of adrenaline, headed off to be an extra. What a way to start the day. Fucking Niagara Falls, man. This city is... Come back out and there were still people picking up the broken shells of the shell shock, you know what I mean? Like, it was just... everyone was still sort of frozen in place, being like, I can't believe that happened. And there was this monstrously tall, like, I'm talking 7 foot tall. He'd had to have been at least 2 feet wide. Like, big dude, right? Big dude. Speaking in what I can only describe as like a voice that is akin to Herbert's from Family Guy. Like he was just real soft-spoken and real high-pitched. And it was not what I was expecting to come out of that really big guy, right? But he was ranting. And yeah, he was ranting about police presence, because he was saying that school doesn't even have a security officer. They should have a police officer at least on site during the drop-off, so things like that don't happen, etc., etc. He was really funny, he was like, oh, they've got enough time to stop at Tim Hortons, and fucking ranted about how this morning he had stopped for coffee on the way to drop his kid off at school, and there were like 15 officers in the Tim Hortons, and he's like, I get it, they all gotta have breaks, but do they all gotta have them at the same time in a donut store? Really? And I was like, yeah, that's like, the circumstances of that are kind of comical as well. Then there was this Sha'Carri Richardson lookalike, also having a chat with him, who, obviously wasn't a Sha'Carri Richardson lookalike. If you looked at their faces, they'd look nothing alike, but she had big braids, fluoro braids, green and yellow, like tennis ball coloured braids, with big, long fingernails that were longer than her fingers and stuff as well, right? He was standing there going, "This is Niagara Falls. You don't leave your car unattended in Niagara Falls with the keys in. This is Niagara Falls," and clapping at every syllable. And it was like, yeah, it was a moment in and of itself. You know what I mean?